Hello everybody, this is wdnicolson, and this is a bit of a departure on this channel. I'm going to talk about the Obi-Wan Kenobi TV series that's now on Disney+. Now, there's plenty being said about things that are happening away from the show itself. I'm not going to go into those. What I want to discuss is the ability of storytelling to be taken away from where the original story was. And this is the thing that has bugged me with the way that Obi-Wan Kenobi as a series has played out in 3 episodes in. We're departing from what the story was for the sake of what?
What?
I don't understand why a 6 TV show series needs to rewrite what is original lore in Star Wars. And the core of my frustration is that Obi-Wan Kenobi, who we saw as a wise old Jedi who directed Luke in the right path in the original series and then mentored him.
And the Force is what gives the Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. It surrounds us and penetrates us. It binds the galaxy together.
Then became this brash, talented master of the Force in the prequels.
Again, Anakin, and you will pay attention to my lead.
Why? What?
Get help, you're no match for him. He's a Sith Lord.
Chancellor Palpatine, Sith Lords are our speciality.
But because we need 6 episodes, because we need to pull this hero in a new direction, apparently, we have what we've been given with Obi-Wan Kenobi through 3 episodes. A deconstruction of a great character into someone who can't offer anything. I've heard the terms used, he's got no agency in his own show. Here's a clip from Jane Theory and Az, who's also known as Heels versus Babyface. I've only just discovered these guys. I'm not going to say I agree with everything that he's saying and what she's saying, but this absolutely nails the arc of agency of Obi-Wan Kenobi in his own show. Check it out.
Do you know who deserves a voice? Obi-Wan. He has no agency in his own show.
None.
Nothing is happening as a consequence of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
No.
Everything that's happening is a consequence of something else.
Things are happening to him.
Fake
And he's being dragged
Jedi
along.
gives him the key to go onto the ship.
Right.
Reva kills the Grand Inquisitor, who's just about to reveal Obi-Wan. The ship is on an automated path to this planet.
Right.
A truck driver comes along and Leia gets a lift off them. They come to a checkpoint where a fake Imperial officer then takes them into town. He's got no agency.
No. And most of the time, he's literally just standing there, not even responding to what's happening.
No. Leia does.
And I just can't agree anymore with that. It's bang on. You have a character that ultimately puts our hero of Star Wars, which was Luke Skywalker, on the right path, guides him, and now he's the unguidable. He needs a guide everywhere he goes in a series that's based 8 years after Revenge of the Sith, 10 years before New Hope. I'll make my first point here. I am truly surprised that Disney hasn't retconned the gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. If they really wanted to squeeze the Star Wars stone dry of anything that's left in it, they would have extended this out to 30 years, to 40 years, whatever they need to, and who knows, they may still do that. And that's the frustration that comes out of the Obi-Wan Kenobi character change, is that now he's hopeless. There are lines in A New Hope where Vader talks about, your powers are weak, old man. You should not have come back. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Except for the 2 times that we're evidently going to fight in Obi-Wan Kenobi. My jaw drops to the floor. I just don't fathom how this was a good decision to A, have them fight again, but B, clearly going to fight twice. And when Obi-Wan comes to this, they've spent 3 episodes pulling him away from what he was at the end of Revenge of the Sith, and even to the degree where he's not the same bloke that you see in A New Hope. That's the thing that I can't work out as a disconnect, is that they're effectively saying, okay, Obi-Wan needs to get to where he is in A New Hope, but they haven't looked at what he was in A New Hope. He wasn't a Jedi who doubted himself. Old age had caught up to him, and evidently the mistakes of his past had caught up with him. Instead, we get a fast-forwarded, ×2 speed fall away in 3 episodes, where we just suddenly see a character that the only way he can end up as the Ben Kenobi in A New Hope is if he finds a way to lift in these last 3 episodes. And this is why I wanted to talk about what story I would have written, or at least the direction I would have gone, because you're going to go up and down like a yo-yo around this central figure of Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't even mentioned the other characters in the show yet, the new ones or the reimagined old ones. What I struggle with is that we're going to have a yo-yo Obi-Wan. He is going to be at the bottom now. All of a sudden, he's going to go back to the top. I don't know how his final confrontation with Vader will go, and whether Reva will indeed be the safety net for Obi-Wan and help him move on with his looking after of Luke, where she steps in and does something incredible. We know that's where it feels like it's going. And I don't have a huge issue with that if Obi-Wan was still at the top of his game and that she had to come in and help him. Now it feels like he can't do anything, so if it's not her, then who is it? We've been told there's maybe a couple of other Jedi going around that can enter in 3 episodes. It seems like they're setting them up for more series as opposed to this particular arc, but that's the recap of where I think it's gone, and I really struggle with the way they've deconstructed Obi-Wan like they did Luke Skywalker. At least we're seeing it being done with Obi-Wan to a degree. We didn't get that opportunity with Luke. So now, as part 2 of this video, I want you to understand what I would have done with the character of Obi-Wan. So let's stick with the same timeline as the Obi-Wan series. It's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith, and it's 9 years before A New Hope. And this idea came out of a message that I've been sending to a mate of mine. We're both products of the 80s. Grew up on Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi on VHS, watching it heaps and heaps and heaps, as much as we could at home. And so when it came out in the late 90s and reimagined, that was a buzz for us. And we've been fans from, basically figurine time. And we were discussing it, and I was saying what really looks to me as the big mistake is that, as I've covered off in the first part of this video, is that they've pulled Obi-Wan apart and they've made him useless, and he's no longer a master. He can't even use the Force. And now he's using that uncivilized blaster all the time, which, again, I don't want to retread too much of that. I want to talk about what I might do. And here's what I would start it as. Obi-Wan is on Tatooine. We've got to start on Tatooine. That's just the situation that we're in. But Obi-Wan is the conductor, the powerful force behind the scenes that effectively does what we found out in episode 3 of the series, which is there's an underground network funneling Jedi out of danger worlds into new identities. To me, that needed to be Obi-Wan's job. He took that on the back of his failure with Anakin and went, well, at the very least I can do is, if I couldn't save him, then I couldn't save the ones who got done in Order 66. I will do everything I can to set up a network that allows these people to get out of danger and avoid the Inquisitors. He would coordinate this all from Tatooine, and he could. He's a Jedi Master. That's the thing. He is pretty powerful in these situations, so he could work with the people that he needs to and, help. He doesn't have to necessarily be in the right place. He could actually be that as much as the Emperor was moving the chess pieces behind, he didn't leave Coruscant a whole lot. That's the part of it that I just go, come on, let's play with the Master thing. He's a Jedi Master. Let him be able to do these things. So he's got agents that are working around. We have a situation where a Jedi comes to Obi-Wan and breaks protocols and effectively comes to him on Tatooine and says, Vader's closing in on you in his dying breath. And so that actually forces Obi-Wan to leave Tatooine to get away from what would be the trail back to him and basically break out the remaining Jedi that are potentially in danger, because this Jedi that has fallen, either under the influence or just the fear of Vader, and that broke him to reveal that, these are all the Jedi are. It's now Obi-Wan's job in this series to hop from planet to planet to planet to planet and save those particular Jedi from Inquisitors. So you can have your vast Inquisitor types, like we have in this current series and what we saw in Rebels, and one by one, the Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi takes them out. Okay? This works in a couple of ways, because what it does is it allows you to get to A New Hope and there's no Inquisitors. Wouldn't that be a good idea? Instead, there's going to be like 50,000 of them. And as he takes on each Inquisitor, you know, Obi-Wan Kenobi's confidence is going to grow. He's busting Jedi out. You meet maybe some old faces, you meet some new ones, you meet some new characters with different places in society that you can ultimately start relating to and going, actually, Obi-Wan's helping as many people as he can. This is the first time he's actually had to leave Tatooine to do it, but, you know, he's serious about protecting as many of the Jedi as possible, which is what he's basically sworn to do as a Jedi. Who knew? So the series revolves around him going to these places and busting people out. Look, if you've got to have a Leia moment, have a Jedi be on Alderaan, have he or she connected to Bail Organa and Leia, and actually, as I recall, that was probably the first impetus I had of a thought of where this Jedi that gets torn by fear by Vader is that he actually reveals to the Inquisitors that there's another Force-sensitive person on Alderaan. Maybe that's where the whole story starts. So he found that Leia had something about her and tells Obi-Wan that, and that kicks him into gear because he realises there's many people that know that Leia is who Leia is, and that's the impetus. Sorry, I should have mentioned that at the start of the video. As you can tell, I'm doing this in one take. But I really think that adds, if you have Leia in the story, is that there's another motivation for Obi-Wan to get away from Tatooine. There's a reason for him to leave looking after Luke. And at the moment, it was like guilt that got him off Tatooine before when he wasn't ready. This time, no, he's capable. He is still the Obi-Wan Kenobi that we know and love. And what you have as the underscore, as I said a little bit earlier, is that the hubris begins with Obi-Wan. Maybe I can write the Jedi. Not only can I write the Jedi, maybe if I'm knocking all these Inquisitors off, maybe I can take on Vader. And then that sets you up through the course of these 6 episodes to a confrontation with Vader where Obi-Wan goes into the fight thinking he can actually undo the damage that he's ultimately had happen to the Jedi. Remember, Obi-Wan beat Anakin last time. What makes him think he can't beat him again? And that's your finale. They're maybe on Alderaan, I don't know, wherever you want to have it. They're on one of those big cliffs. You've got this epic ability to film a fight of 2 Jedis, one in dark suit of armor with a red lightsaber, another one in light Jedi robes with a blue lightsaber on the top of a mountain peak. It would be just spectacular. And almost like Bail Organa and Leia are standing there watching it off in a distance. Just ideas as they come to me. But you can have, ultimately, Obi-Wan fighting, thinking the only way to end this conflict and to right the wrongs of his past is to kill Vader. The fight continues, and Obi-Wan finds himself on the edge of the cliff. Vader on the march towards him. There's about 10-15 metres between them. And then fate steps in. And that fate is in the form of Qui-Gon Jinn as a Force Ghost. He sands down a lightning just like Yoda did in Our Last Jedi. It splits the cliff in between Vader and Obi-Wan. And Obi-Wan plummets and falls away with the cliff, away from Vader, who stands like he does at the end of Rogue One, at the top of the cliff and looks down and sees his former master fall away into nothingness and almost certain doom. And what does that parallel? Yeah, George Lucas' poetry line. As Anakin was left on Mustafar by Obi-Wan, he didn't think he'd survive that either.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme. Mm-hmm. Every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
And so what you end up with is, as Obi-Wan falls, we get Vader thinking that he's won, and we get Obi-Wan realising that at the peak of what he thought was his powers, he had made that decision that he was going to kill Anakin. And then he realises that those things that he'd been doing with all the Inquisitors actually been leading him down a path that he should not continue on. And so that's why the Force Ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn steps in, to ensure that Obi-Wan is going to be around for Luke Skywalker. That this is not Obi-Wan's fight to win. In fact, it is Luke's job to bring Anakin back from the dark side, not to destroy him. And that's the realization. That's the thing that makes him really pull back and go into the shadows and become Ben Kenobi again on Tatooine. Remember, everyone thinks he's dead. That's why he can be back on Tatooine looking after Luke. And Anakin thinks that he's finally got rid of his master. He has lost his Inquisitor Force. And then you've got 10 years of whatever you want, Disney. But what that leaves with Vader is the knowledge that Obi-Wan Kenobi has been defeated. So when you get back to the Death Star in A New Hope, when he stands there and goes, I sense something, a presence I've not felt since, it clues in he's not dead. And then the line from Tarkin, surely he must be dead by now. And then Vader says, don't underestimate the Force. I don't know. That's where I think the story should have gone. So in summary, Obi-Wan, the ringleader of getting Jedi out of the core systems, getting away from danger, avoiding Inquisitors. A Jedi comes in who has sensed Leia on Alderaan, has also run away, almost like bait from the Emperor and his Inquisitors, to flush Kenobi out. He says, I found a Force-sensitive girl on Alderaan. 2 and 2 to go together for Obi-Wan. He realises, well, if this Jedi has sensed Leia, then I need to do something about it. And all the other Jedi that Obi-Wan has been able to resettle are now under threat. It only needs to be a handful of people. It's not 15 like we're on the wall of that little safe house. Why would you write down that you had Jedi there? Anywho, and that story becomes Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi going around and kicking butt, being the Master, but ultimately, as he knocks off Inquisitor after Inquisitor, he becomes a bit...
His skills have made him, well, arrogant.
And he becomes susceptible to being defeated by Vader because he's no longer fighting for always the right thing. It's that, well, I've knocked off all your little minions, now I can knock off you and finish the job that I didn't do on Mustafar. And that's where Obi-Wan breaks. Instead of it all happening kind of off-screen, where when we last saw in Revenge of the Sith, he was actually pretty upbeat about things. I'm going to commune with Qui-Gon, learn from Yoda. Nope. We just get told that broke him completely. It doesn't fit. At least this way, he realises that his one job now, that the Empire thinks he's dead after he falls off the cliff, is to make sure that Luke Skywalker becomes the Jedi Knight and saves the galaxy. I've been Warwick Nicholson. I hope you enjoyed this ramble on how I would have written the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. There are plenty of good videos out there looking at what's happening in the current series. My 2 cents is that I think they've been poorly written. I'm not saying that my version is superior. I'm just saying that's what I would have gone in the direction of and tried to show you how these things happened rather than just telling you after the fact, oh, this is why things are happening like they are. That's what Star Wars needs to be going forward, is showing you the things that you didn't know had happened and you wanted to see. I'm hopeful that this Skeleton Crew idea thing with Jude Law might actually be in that sweet spot between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. I really hope so. That's an area where Disney really needs to go hard at showing us what happened, because it's the stuff we want to see. So take it easy and I'll see you next time on this channel.